and they're not paying the zakat. So why point the finger there when we got them right here? You know, as we say, you got to clean up your own backyard before you go looking at other people's backyard. So, the zakah isn't being paid. Well, what do we expect? Is Allah going to bless us when the salah is not established? The zakah is not being paid? How can we expect a blessing? وَالضَّالِينَ. Nor should we be like the Christians. The Christians who have no knowledge. What they have, the Gospels? The Gospels is a jumble, mumbo-jumbo of, people writing this, that, and the other. Very little, maybe a few sentences that actually came from Prophet Jesus alayhi salam. The rest of it is nonsense. The writings of Paul, confusion, calling them to idolatry. This is what they have. No guidance. So what happens? They're astray. Ignorance leads to shirk, which leads to hell. If you're ignorant of who God is, then you're going to worship other than God. If you don't know who God is, then you're going to worship other than God. And that's what has happened to the Christians, the Buddhists, the Hindus, all these others. They don't know who God is. So they worship a statue, a person, a cow, anything. Ignorance. That's why Islam says that you have to seek knowledge. فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Ask those who know if you don't know. طالب العلم فريضة على كل مسلم. Same as the Prophet ﷺ. Seeking knowledge is compulsory for every Muslim. This is what we have to do. We cannot walk around in this life ignorant of what Allah has commanded us and feel that we were going to be saved because we have some piece of paper which says we're a Muslim. We have a Muslim name. That means we have a ticket to paradise. Don't think that a Muslim name is a ticket to paradise. Because the same names that you call Muslim names, you had Arabs who the Prophet ﷺ said were going to hell with those same names. Similar names. It's not names which carry you to paradise. It is choosing to be Muslims, choosing to be true Muslims, and doing what Allah has commanded. Doing what Allah has commanded and avoiding whatever He has prohibited. It means we have to know what He commanded. We have to know what He prohibited. It is our duty to find out what it is that Allah wants from us in this life. Allah created us for His worship. مَا خَلَقْتَ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. He didn't create the jinn or mankind except for the worship of Himself. And the worship is doing what is pleasing to Allah. Whatever we do, believing that it is pleasing to Allah, this is worship of Allah. It will be acceptable to Allah if it is pleasing to Him. If it is not pleasing, then though we may call it worship, it is not true worship of Allah. Only what is pleasing to Allah is acceptable to Allah. And that is the essence of true worship. And what is pleasing to Allah, Allah has told us in the Quran what is pleasing to Him. General principle to know. A guideline for us to know any time, anywhere in our lives, we have something we're doing, something we want to do, something we're talking about doing. We want to know, is this pleasing to Allah? Will this be pleasing to Allah? Allah says what? إِن كُنتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِي يُحْبِبْكُمُ اللَّهُ. He told the Prophet ﷺ to say so. If you love Allah, if you want to do things which are pleasing to Allah, because you do things that are pleasing to the one you love. I mean, the guy who you consider to be your enemy, you don't do things pleasing to him, unless he's got a gun at your head. Otherwise, you do things pleasing to the one who you love. So Allah tells the Prophet ﷺ to tell us, in the Quran, if you love Allah, follow me. Follow the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and Allah will love you. This is when Allah will love us. When we follow the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And how do we follow the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? We follow the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, by knowing that Sunnah. By being sure that whatever we do was what the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ taught us to do. He said, مَا تَرَكْتُ شَيْئًا يُقَرِّبُكُمْ إِلَى اللَّهِ إِلَّا وَأَمَرْتُكُمْ بِهِ. I have not left anything which will bring you closer to Allah except that I have told you to do it. Very important hadith that we need to make the foundation of our Islamic being. مَا تَرَكْتُ شَيْئًا. I have not left anything يُقَرِّبُكُمْ إِلَى اللَّهِ which will bring you closer to Allah إِلَّا وَأَمَرْتُكُمْ بِهِ except that I have told you to do it. So if you find anything which the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ has not told you to do, which you think is pleasing to Allah, then don't do it. Do not do it, because it's not pleasing to Allah. What is pleasing to Allah is not what we feel, what we think, what He said, what so-and-so said, what our parents did, what they do in Arabia. This is not what defines what is pleasing to Allah. What the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ told us to do, this is what is pleasing to Allah. And we need to know that what we are doing is what He told us to do. That's why He said, مَنْ أَحْدَثَ فِي أَمْرِنَا مَا لَيْسَ مِنْهُ فَهُوَ رَدٌّ. Whoever adds something new to Islam, to our affair, that is not accepted. It is rejected. It is thrown back in our faces. And He also said that whoever starts an evil sunnah. What is an evil sunnah? An evil sunnah is something